Behold, the Costa of Concordia.
The cost.
I will say though, this video, you guys think this is a travesty in like European standards. This is just British. This is British boating on a daily. On a daily.
De Concordia. Ship of dreams.
Buzzing, I literally just said that.
It's been.
But we're
8
watching it because I want to
years.
react to it. And to be fair,
I
it's
can
funny.
still smell the buffets from their
And I don't really
5
remember much of what
restaurants.
happened anyway, so.
The casino and 3-story theater had hardly been used.
I've never been on a boat like this in my
Gym,
life.
The day spa.
I would love to
the
go on holiday and
sheets
just
in
go
her
boating like this. Assuming
1500 luxurious cabins.
the captain wasn't
hadn't
this
even
dude.
been slept in. Costa Concordia cost $570 million to build. And
Damn, dude! $570 million. You could have afforded a tier 3 subscription to Makari's Twitch channel for that much. Or a single hug for a Makari in person. Damn, dude. Damn.
you could tell. You could really tell.
God, those... In my mind, looking at these kind of things, like the logistics just don't make sense. How does a hotel float? And don't somebody come up to me with scientific,
it like it was just a few
accurate
years ago.
mathematics
We
as
had
to how
left
buoyancy
Civitavecchia,
works?
a port in Rome.
Do I look
and
like the
we
kind
were
of person
making
who
our
has
way
the
to
intelligence to
Savona.
understand science?
It was day 2 of our 7-day journey. But that ship, she was cursed.
Oh my god.
Cursed like
When she
these
premiered,
nuts.
the traditional bottle of champagne bounced right off the side instead
Oh,
of
well,
smashing.
that's it,
A
guys.
bad omen.
But I'm not the superstitious.
That's it.
Nothing
That-
could
the
go
boat's
wrong
doomed.
on
Boat's
Friday
doomed.
the 13th
Glass didn't break.
of January 2012, on the 100th year anniversary of the Titanic, on a ship that's also only safety rated for 2-compartment flooding, especially not when you have a 5-star max level captain like Frank.
Who allowed this boat to exist? It's like they almost made... It's like they purposefully got a checklist of all the possible things that you could put into a ship to make it the most unsafe vessel in existence. And then they had the surprised Pikachu face when the thing sank faster than my Twitch ratings.
Francisco Scatino, a man who mysteriously rose from
This
head
guy,
of security
this guy's
to
escaped the
position of
FBI
captain
recently.
within
He was
just a
supposed to
couple of
appear
years.
in court, and
He knows
just
exactly what to
fled
do
the
in
country.
case of an
So
emergency.
the FBI were chasing
For
him.
example, when he caused this emergency in 2008, when he crashed into a port in Sicily. And in 2010, in Warnemünde, Germany, when he was steering a different ship and came into port too fast and caused another collision. I've got a good feeling.
So why would you hire him
let's
again?
It's a beautiful evening.
Why would
People
you
are having fun
hire
on
him
the slides.
again if
Drinks
he's
at the
done
bar.
that much bullshit?
Antonio Magnotta
You can't.
is
You're
playing
running
piano
a
at the restaurant.
$500 million
Martin the
ship.
Magician is
Do you
setting
not
up for his
have
show.
money to have like? I mean,
And the
cut
ship
corners
is
where you
setting
have
up
to,
for
but
a
do you have to
little
cut
detour.
corners on the
It's
pilot?
called a sail by salute. Basically, you get real close to the shore and honk the horn. The locals hate it, but the customers love it, and it's a tradition. Scatino, the captain, comes into the dining hall with the lady, Dominica Samorton. Remember this face,
Oh
because
God,
you'll be
she even
seeing a
looks
lot
like
of
a
it
Karen.
later. Scatino eats his dinner
She looks like the kind of
and
person that
socializes for a little.
buys the $5,000
Then he,
dress,
Dominica,
wears
and the
it once,
maitre
and then
d'
returns
finish
it.
up and excuse themselves. They're heading to the bridge. It's time for that
Well, I
sail
don't
by
mean to
salute.
be as in
This
full
time,
stereotypes,
they're
but
going
she
to
kind of
get
looks
closer
sore.
than ever. Just 1,500 feet from the island of Giglio. And how are they going to determine this distance? Well, of course, the captain is going to eyeball it.
Fucking moron.
Apparently, it's not an uncommon thing to do. Scatino turns to the fella steering, his helmsman.
I
Jacob
love incestuous
Russell
editing style.
First interesting tidbit. Costa Crociere has hired Jacob from Indonesia at a rock-bottom price, and he's a bit of a newbie to the
So, this is the part that gets me the most, right? If you want to cut corners, you know, you cut corners on the quality of the food, the quality of the furniture, maybe you get discount fuel, maybe you lower the wages of the staff like an absolute cuck. But the integrity of the ship is made by its crewmen, the people piloting the ship. You're telling me that you decide to hire people with no boating experience to pilot a multi-million-dollar ship. Once again, I stand by my statement. How did you... Why are we surprised at all that suddenly we had a surprised Pikachu face when the thing crashed?
Job. In fact, his profession
What?
hitherto, a painter and a cleaner.
See?
It's his first time steering a massive ship, and he's very excited. At least, we think he is. It's hard to tell because he doesn't speak English or Italian very well at all.
Who hired this guy? Yes, we speak Italiano or Englande here, Inglese here. So you need to speak those languages so we can communicate. It's very important communication on the ship. ¿Qué? ¿Por qué? ¿En español? ¿Mi española? No habla italiano.
Off to a good start. The second in command orders the helmsman to 290. Now, don't be confused by these numbers, they're just the degrees on a compass. At the same time, the captain whips out his cell phone and calls former captain Mario
Man, if you're not allowed to
who
be
lives
on your
the
phone in
island.
a car, you
They
should be
chat
allowed to
about
be on
the
your phone
safe
in a
distance to Giglio's
$540
shores.
million
It's all
ship.
very casual. Anyway, Mario says that the safe distance
Keep your
is
eyes on the
between
road, you'll
0.3
hit a
and
dog.
0.4 miles from shore. The captain is going all in. This is not his first sail by salute.
All in like
so
you
he's
guys on my
confident in what
donathon.
he's doing. We're going closer than we've ever been before. The captain's eyeballing it again. New heading of 300, he tells the helmsman. Downstairs, Martin is about to cut his assistant in half. And of course, that
Hot.
means that
Can I
there's
have them
already a
entrails?
lady inside
Oh,
this
magic
box.
trick. Right, okay.
She's waiting for the cue,
Damn,
and
I
then
was
she'll
getting
poke her
excited there
legs
for a
out.
second.
The captain is giving more orders. Pulling gently to 310. Increase speed to 16 knots. Going this fast is going to be a fatal error. But before we talk about that, let's talk about another big...
You see, when they said change to 16 knots, all of the furries got really excited. They were about ready to pull out their 16 bad dragon dildos. Like, I can take 16 knots.
big problem. Language barrier. Because at this point, the captain says 325, but the helmsman relays 315. So the first officer intervenes, and he goes, no.
I suddenly need to pee. I'm gonna be back in like 2 seconds. Just fuck. Oh my god, Asgear! This video is supposed to be going on YouTube! Do you have any idea how hard this is gonna be to edit? Do you have any idea how hard this is gonna be to edit with you doing that nonsense? Of course you do. Of course you do. That's why you did it. That's why you fucking did it! Ooh, Asgear. Am I gonna have to sit on your face to try and get you to behave? Am I gonna actually have to? Is that what's gonna happen? Ugh. I hate this so much. I hate this so much. Just came to say hi again? Oh, okay, Asgear. Thanks for ruining my YouTube video. Alright, anyway, back to the video.
No, 335, which is also wrong. And then the captain clarifies, no, 325. The helmsman confirms 325. Their poor communication has them moving at a much wider angle than they think they are. However, the captain
SpaghettiOs!
should and would know this, except for the next problem, complacency about procedure. The standard procedure of a ship this large is for the third officer to give exact positional coordinates every time.
You know, Hey, Gogol, thank you for the resub. You know what? You have to have a big amount of respect here for Internet Historian, because this dude actually went out and learned all this stuff to understand this whole thing, right? Like, I cannot imagine how much time it would have taken him to understand this. Like, it's like that Maxor level of understanding your craft to put information into a video that makes it interesting to listen to. Because you could absolutely just make a video about reacting to the whole event and everything. But the fact that he went out and tried learning this stuff, it's crazy.
The captain gives a new directional order, but they're not doing that. 3:30, he says. The helmsman relays 3:30. The ship reaches 16 knots. The captain then turns to the second officer and instructs him to go to the left wing. That's these things here, and they basically exist so you can get a better view over the whole vessel. A few seconds pass, and then the mood starts to turn. Scatino notices white foam of waves breaking against the rocks directly in front of him in the distance. The Costa Concordia, right now, is almost 700 meters closer to the rocks than it should be. Without deviation, there is going to be a direct collision.
Oh, shit!
Scatino immediately commands the ship to start turning away. 335. Not enough. The captain shouts, 340. The captain yells, 350.
You know what, dude? Just stick it in reverse. Just stick it. It's like a car, right? You just put the brake on, stick her in reverse. Just admit you're wrong, stick her in reverse. It's fine. You'll be great.
Now, remember how I said that accelerating to 16 knots was a fatal error? Well, that's because it's made this ship incapable of such a drastic turn.
I mean,
What they've got
clearly they
is
didn't know they
understood.
just had to stick
Here's
it
an
in
example.
reverse.
The front end is not working. You're
Like,
turning,
sure,
turning, and you're
understand?
just going straight.
Just
you want to go
stop
over here,
the,
but you're going to end
stop
up
the
over
boat.
So despite the
Stop
order
the boat,
of 350,
stick her in
right
reverse.
now the bow is still only pointing at 327. Not nearly enough to miss the rock. And oh no, it's about to get worse. That language barrier again. In these critical moments where every second counts, the helmsman wrongly relays 340. The captain snaps back, 350 starboard or we end up on the rocks. The third officer goes to assist the helmsman. Now, don't get confused by the orders from here. We're changing over to rudder instructions. The captain yells, starboard 10, starboard 20, and still it's not enough. Hard to starboard. That means as hard as it'll go.
in
But at
reverse.
this point, even if they clear these rocks, they need to get the rest of the ship to swing around it. So the captain yells, midship, which centers the rudder. The bow is now less than 150 meters from Skull Rock.
Oh no.
Port 10. But the helmsman only gets to port 5 before
It's
another
like the
order is given
inevitable
2 seconds
demise
later.
of watching
Port
somebody's
20.
career
They
go down
might
the drain.
just avoid disaster here, maybe. But then, oh no. One more time, the helmsman
You can't blame the poor guy.
cocks up at
Like,
the worst
it's not
possible
his
moment.
fault he was
The
hired by an
helmsman
idiot
goes
that
to
didn't realize his
starboard
skill set.
instead of port, undoing the swing. 8 seconds later, he realizes the error and corrects, but it's too late. He has just turned a probable near miss into a sure hit. All they can do now is hold on as the bow of the ship narrowly passes by the rocks. Hard to port! The second officer yells, "We're gonna hit!" Collision.
Hey, yo! Well, it's been a good run, guys. It's been a good run. Love how dramatic this is. Bum, bum.
Downtown, Nordtown.
Hey, we got a
It's
patent
day
pending
56.
internet story.
Playing Russian.
Advertisement. Yo, Zurius,
These are
hey! Yo, thank
middle
you so
wing.
much for the
Want a
friggin'
drink
Prime
all by
Gaming, dude.
yourself?
Yo,
Somebody
that's so...
has to.
Oh my god, thank you.
I hear you're a man.
Yo, wait, hold up. Hey, chat, that Prime...
Who's good at finding folks.
I'm many things.
I'm looking for this fella. I got to find him. It's breaking my little heart.
I'll see what I can do. I have contacts in thousands of servers in dozens of countries across the globe. And just like
Nobody
that,
does
she
sponsored
was gone.
advertisements like internet
The only thing
story.
she
I
left
freaking
was a
love these.
call.
These are almost as good as the content in of itself. Still my
Sometimes
favorite
when
is his
you
Raid
follow
Shadow Legends
case,
one though.
it follows you
Rady
back.
Shady.
NordVPN can protect my online data. But who can protect me? From myself.
When they said this job gets easier, it was just another lie. Forensics found his password
Would you consider
spread all the
cereal
way
to be
down the
soup?
block.
Of course. It's like
In
how a
perfect
hot dog is
world,
just a
we'd all
sandwich.
use NordVPN. But I guess this isn't that kind of story. I took the brakes off my car.
You
Man
say that,
like me
Avenrai? I've been
never
sponsored by
really
Raid Chat
learned how
Legends
to
twice. And every single
I took the steering wheel out too.
every single time, I
let
swear
the
to God, they
road
regret their
take me
decision.
where I'm supposed to be.
Like, oh, great. I know we got
That's
a bunch
right,
of titty
Toots.
waifus in our
Your
game,
husband's
but this
dead.
titty waifu? Fucking cringe.
Merry Christmas. Go to nordvpn.com/internethistorian for a huge discount on the 2-year plan. Ad over. The ship hits rocks on the port side.
With Doug, because I doubt he'd want to collab with someone like me.
53-meter
Smile.
gash opens up. in
I'm
the
not
hull.
a big enough content creator
Thousands
for
of
that.
tons of water begin pouring in. A loud scraping and bang is heard by all passengers. At the helm
Well, that's
is
the
panic.
weirdest wake-up call they've ever
Rumblings
had.
in the dining
Ah, I see they've
Martin
activated
awkwardly
the
pauses his act
accidental
as he's
crash
helping his
simulator.
assistant into the box. Meanwhile, the lady inside
Let me
is
out, let
trapped
me
and
out.
terrified. There's confusion across the ship. All of the crew off
Oh my
ship
God, could
come
you
back
imagine
on
being
duty.
that girl who's
All
in the
officers
box
run to the
right as they
bridge.
crash?
Technical crews
Dude, I'd
run
have
down to
such
the lower decks
claustrophobia.
to assess damage. On connection with the rocks, they lose propulsion and slow to 8.3 knots. And they are now
Yo! Thank you for the biddies, Asgear. Let's go.
Makari Jebus, no, it is not like a car. That ship is over 100 tons going 60 knots, just like freight trains take miles to stop from high speed. A heavy cruise ship hitting full reverse after traveling at 60 knots would take roughly 96 nautical miles to come to a stop.
You missed the you obviously missed the part. No, wait, really? Oh my gosh, no way. Science? Logic? I know. I was being sarcastic. I'm very well aware that the centrifugal force being pushed and kinetic energy of how some like perpetual motion. I get it. I understand resistance and thrust and perpetual momentum. Yes, I know this. I was clearly you didn't. You know, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. My joke, my sense of humor is lost on you all.
Close the watertight doors
I
at
was
stern.
just acting silly.
Enormous volumes of water are pouring in.
Yeah, what's inertia?
So much so that within 29 seconds of collision, all 6 engines stop working through flooding. 22 seconds
I mean,
later,
I know I'm a
blackout
succubus,
happens.
and I know my IQ is lower than that of my
Lights,
thermostat
electrics,
level.
water pumps too.
But yeah.
The captain
common
orders the
sense.
helmsman hard starboard. This is the final position of the rudder before power to that, too, is lost. The Costa Concordia, now
God,
without power,
I can't even
is
imagine how
drifting
scary it would have been
starboard,
to be on a ship like this.
plunged into absolute darkness.
Like, this would have been Five Nights at Freddy's nightmare fuel-inducing.
A quick breakdown of the flooding. When the Concordia struck land, it tore open 3 watertight compartments. At first, compartment 5, which filled very rapidly. Then 6 more slowly, 4 shortly after. Then 7, 8, and 3. Modern ships are built to withstand 2 compartment breaches. These compartments especially, though, are a problem, because they contain the engines and the electrics. These main generators give power to the whole ship. From propulsion motors to rudder to hotel function.
Yeah,
Pretty much
I
everything.
feel like they
when
could have probably...
went out, the ship was a functionless, sinking cage.
This whole experience is basically
A few seconds
Sod's
later,
Law.
the emergency
Anything
batteries
that
for
can
internal
go
lighting
wrong
and
would go
communications
wrong.
Kick on. When the lights
Anything
come
that
back
could go
on,
wrong did
Martin
go
has
wrong.
vanished. He's ditched the stage, and it caused a huge panic in the theatre as passengers are trying to flee to their cabins and to muster stations. People already in their cabins come out and start putting on life vests. Staff rally and try to calm everyone down. Everything is fine. There's no need for vests. Please return to your cabins. The emergency generator starts. All of the watertight doors close except for
Yes,
door
Asgear, I
12,
know. I
which
know.
is jammed. The
I was
captain
being
calls Pilot,
silly.
the
I'm
chief
very well
engineer,
aware.
as the ship begins to list on the port
Like,
side.
me saying
There's
they should have
water
just
coming
stuck in
in?
reverse
Yes,
was more
there's
of a
water.
joke.
But where? The engine room.
Just saying how
A lot of
impossible
water?
that would have been.
Yes! There's water, you can't go down. Let's go down the other side. In a moment we'll start the pumps, I'll let you know.
Because, you know, anyone with low
In
IQ
the
would have
theatre,
been like,
the whole electric
they
box
should have
that
gone
runs
in
slides
reverse.
right
No
off
one
the stage
suggested
and
go in
falls into
reverse.
the crowd, further increasing panic. On the bridge, an announcement is being prepared. They are going to lie to prevent a panic. Let's just say we have a blackout.
Why would you lie?
The
You're
deputy
basically
chief
putting their
engineer
lives
enters the engine
on the
control
line
room.
because of
He
your
confirms to the bridge
pride.
that at least compartments
I think
5,
that's like one of
6,
the
and
biggest
7
problems
are
with this guy.
flooded.
He was too prideful in himself.
Announcements are made.
On behalf of the captain, to inform you that due to an electrical fault, which is currently under control, we're currently in a blackout. Our technicians are working to resolve the situation, and we'll inform you of developments as they occur. Thank you for your attention.
Coincidentally, at the same time in the restaurant, they're playing My Heart Will Go On, and it's very much not helping the situation. The captain calls the Costa Crisis Unit. Roberto Ferrarini. He tells the crisis
What a
unit that they've
piece
hit
of
a rock,
shit.
that
Why
they're
would you
assessing
lie in a
damages and
situation
that
like
they
this?
are also in a blackout. The crisis office says to reverse the ship up onto shore. Well, how are you going to do that? You don't have power to the rudder, let alone the engine. You hoist the sails.
Yeah, thank you for the research.
Anyway, around this time, the wind direction creates a starboard list, and the ship begins to turn anyway, drifting right back towards the shore, which is a very good thing because you want the ship to end up as close to shore as possible. A panicked passenger senses that something is off. This isn't like any electrical problem that she's ever seen. Plus, there was a massive
Oh yeah, he was
crashing
in
noise,
massive
and now
denial.
the ship is tilted.
Like honestly,
So, she contacts her
the
daughter
core
in Italy.
reason this
The
all went
daughter
wrong was
then
because
calls the
of
police.
the captain.
And the police
If you had a
call
different
the harbour
captain,
master.
I reckon this would have been fine.
While that goes
I don't
on,
think this would have ever
a
happened.
conversation between Pilon and Ambrosio.
You just had the worst
diesel
captain in
is
charge.
not starting. The captain asks the engine room, but where have we made contact? Thinking that the incoming water can be reduced. Captain, here everything is lost. The electrical panel, everything. They're saying at this point that the ship is going down. The captain calls Roberto Ferrarini again. Actually, 2 compartments have been flooded, but don't worry, the ship's stability isn't in danger. Wrong. Passengers begin going to muster stations on their own initiative. The cruise
Listen,
director
I
says,
did it.
"We
He's
haven't
like
lost-"
he's like a you know what this reminds me of so much. It reminds me of a toddler that's broken one of their mother's vases, and they're so unused to the concept of consequence that they just outright lie. It's like, well, no, mom, it was already broken. Mom, it was already broken. I didn't. It was it was just a little broken. It's okay. It's fine. I didn't know, but mom, I didn't do it. It was my sister that I don't have. And thank you for the follow.
People at muster stations that I do not want to fall overboard. Do we make an announcement to tell them to go to the lounges? Bozio says, I think that's best. The harbour master from Livorno calls the ship. The captain tells them that we just have a blackout.
He is a live
How long
little
has
toddler.
this blackout been going on? About 20 minutes. Have you asked passengers to put on life vests? It's just a blackout. I gotta go. The harbour master is suspicious. He says to his superiors that he thinks something more is going on. He calls a patrol boat to the area and asks them to look at the ship. Another problem. The fan on the emergency diesel generator isn't working properly. Pilon manually has to turn the thing on and off with a screwdriver so that it doesn't overheat and cause a fire. The captain is on the phone to the lower decks, asking pointless questions.
A fucking
like,
screwdriver?
is it still flooded? Yes. Yes, it is. The captain...
I mean, to be fair, that's like turning me off and on with a vibrator. You gotta make sure you turn it off and on to make sure I don't overheat. Badumts.
is essentially in denial of the situation. The harbour master calls again. Finally, he says, the ship is taking on water through an opening in the left side and the ship is listing. He qualifies with, no one
It's a good
dead
thing
or
that
injured.
someone in this
The
whole
harbour master
predicament
asks
is
if he
at
needs
least
help.
somewhat competent.
Just a tugboat? When in reality,
I mean, imagine if
they
you're
need a
some
full
dude on the
rescue.
beach who's watching this,
With
like,
3
oh,
compartments
darling,
flooded,
look at the
the
boat.
captain finally
It's going
realizes
by.
that things are
coming.
really bad, and they are
It's
not
stopping.
going to improve.
It's
The Coast Guard
coming
orders
back.
every available ship to the sea.
going down.
Meanwhile, up with the passengers,
What a weird
the cruise
boat.
director's assistant says, everything's under control. Please return to your cabins or hang about in the lounges, no problem. She said this despite knowing it was wrong and that it further endangered lives. Most passengers at this point, though, aren't listening to this nonsense, and they're busy figuring out how to abandon ship. Bang, 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 bang. Local television has already picked up the story and they begin broadcasting live radio feed from the bridge.
Hey, capo.
Captain, the passengers are going on board the boats. Okay, let them go to shore. So then general emergency? Wait,
Yeah,
let me
I mean,
talk to Ferrarini.
did you guys ever watch that movie, Pearl Harbor? When I remember watching that when I was a kid, and the idea of being in the like subdecks of a sinking ship are just that is like nightmare fuel. So the people who were down in that engine room turning the thing on and off with a screwdriver whilst the water was coming up around their ankles, dude, those guys braver than anyone you could imagine.
We risk the emergency generators that do not have cooling. It has cooling problems, 100 degrees. The cooling fan has stopped. Pelon calls the bridge and tells the safety officer they need to evacuate. The safety officer relays this to the captain, but after no response, he orders the engine room to evacuate on his own. The captain says, "No, stay. We're leaving." So what do? General emergency? The captain tells Ferrarini that he's abandoning ship. Abandoned ship! Another announcement is made.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. The situation is under control. Please remain calm.
Watching The Costa De Concordia by Internet Historian at the moment. So let's vibe.
Outside on deck 4.
The Livorno Coast Guard calls again. The captain declares distress. The Coast Guard officially
I'm
calls for
distressed
rescue
that I'm such a
operations.
fucking
They
idiot!
contact Pietro
How am I
Millet,
so
the helicopter
stupid
base
that I can't
commander,
even handle
who
a
then
simple
calls in
situation
every
I should have been
available
trained
pilot
for?
As he rushes down to the helicopter base, Pelon shuts down the
I mean,
emergency
obviously it's not that
generator
simple,
for
but the
final
simple answer
time.
would have been, yes, the situation is
First
bad,
rescue
not
vessel
bloody
arrives.
well
By
sitting
this
there going,
point, the
no,
lifeboats
it's
are
fine, it's
already
fine.
going. Luckily, the ship is very close to shore. Oh, perhaps too close to shore. The ship forcefully runs aground, creating an uneven center of gravity, and it begins heavily listing starboard. The captain issues a general emergency on board. The announcement to abandon ship is finally called and alarms ring out, and with that comes panic.
Hold on. So, the whole shit went sideways at 9:45. So they started sinking at 9:45. They weren't abandoning ship until almost 11. Wow, that's some levels of incompetency.
Starboard. The captain issues a general emergency on board.
Detected.
Hey, thank you for the $20. Thank you.
Love from over the pond.
Ah, that's so sweet. Thank you for the 20 bones. Appreciate it, dude. Chat, show some love to Epoch, please. That's very generous. $20 dues.
The announcement
Free
to abandon
money for
ship is
me.
finally called and alarms ring out, and with that comes panic. And now that they're listing,
And that
with
takes
many
us
of the
up to
lifeboats too
285 points.
awkwardly positioned to enter the water, there aren't enough readily available, and they have to start going back and forth to the shore, picking people up and dropping them off. The patrol boats report to the Livorno harbour master that the ship has run aground and is listing heavily. So the harbour master asks the captain about it, and the captain says, no, the ship is still floating. In fact, we're trying to maneuver it onto the shore. They know he's lying. Hold on, I'm reversing it. Beep, 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 beep. The captain then says to bottom out the starboard anchor. So they drop out the anchors, but let out too much chain, effectively rendering them useless. The deputy mayor of Giglio, Mario Pellegrini,
I don't think I've
and
ever seen a
tobacco shop
situation
owner
of more
Giovanni
incompetence
Rossi
in my life.
arrive at the harbour. They watch the scene unfold. As the first of the lifeboats arrive on shore, the deputy mayor takes the initiative and races to board one of the lifeboats, returning to the ship, and starts trying to find someone in charge. He gives up
What an
and starts
absolute
helping
Chad.
passengers.
I can't
Scatino
imagine there'd be
tells
that many
everyone to
mayors out
leave
there
and
who'd be
take
willing to
radios,
jump onto a sinking
but
ship
not
to try
before
and
changing out
discipline
of his
someone.
uniform and into a nice suit. Priority.
What?
Dimitri Christidis and Silvia Coronica leave with him. The maitre d' and Sir Morton both get out of there. By this point, approximately 300 people are still on the ship. Relay reaches the
Jeez.
helicopter base. The first helicopter, a slow-moving Augusta Bell, was already rising from the tarmac for the hour-long flight south.
Oh my
Bozio
god.
is the
How long
last
did...
crew
No,
member left on
man.
the bridge, coordinating evacuation. He then leaves to help passengers board lifeboats.
I'm glad
The
somebody had
bridge
the
is
balls
now
to do
abandoned.
something.
And then, the ship's black box stops working. Apparently there were technical problems with it.
Of course.
That means, from here, things are going to get a little foggy in detail.
Thank you for the luck, Mikey.
A while later, rescue helicopters arrive, but they're struggling to find the ship because they're expecting it to still be well above water.
Chad, if you had this happening to
Passengers
you,
are
would you
scaling
decide to
down
jump
the
over,
port side
jump
by
overboard,
ladder
or would
as
you wait
lifeboats
for
return to pick
the
them up?
hope that the rescue boats would actually be capable of taking you in the first place?
It was no joke, mi amor. Yes.
You're not allowed to make a film movie.
I'm allowed.
Who say you are?
A second helicopter, a faster model, sets off. The ship stops healing and comes to a final resting place. Now the Coast Guard calls
almost
the
as
captain,
bent as my
because
sexuality.
He's just learned that the captain has abandoned ship. The captain claims, no, actually I slipped and I fell into one of the lifeboats. I'm close. But now that I'm on board, I may as well head back to shore.
Yeah,
DeFalco
sure.
tells the captain to get the fuck back on board. And the captain kind of acts confused and then effectively refuses. So the captain makes it to shore. From here, we
What a
only have
piece of
mainstream news
shit.
reports to rely
How
on, so it's not
like,
going to be super accurate.
At least on
But
the
they say
Titanic,
that Gilia's
the
police
guy
chief
stayed
then
on board
finds
to help as many
110
people as he could before
survivors
going
on the
down with the
rocks at
ship.
Point Gabbianara. And among them is the captain. It's not known whether the captain helped anyone while he was there, and in fact, the police
What
chief
an
claims that he
absolute
just
coward.
sat on
Causes
the
the whole
rocks
mess and just sits there and
watched
watches
other
it
people
go
do the
under.
rescuing. A while later, a rescue boat picks up the captain and takes him to the harbour. He speaks to the police. He then finds the ship's onboard chaplain, Father Rafael Molina, and cries to him for about 15 minutes. Then he goes to the harbour master's office to receive probably the biggest dressing down of his entire life.
I can imagine he
Port
feels like a
authorities ask the
12-year-old in
taxi
high
driver
school who gets
to
sent
take
to the
the captain
headmaster's
back to
office.
his hotel.
I didn't do
The captain takes
it!
the 30
Becky
second cab
pushed
ride to the
me!
Bahamas Hotel. According to the cabbie,
Hi,
he was
Mari.
beaten like
What's
a
up,
dog. He was cold and afraid. He only asked me where he could buy a pair of fresh socks. But then he perked right up again and gave an interview to a news crew. He told them that he was the last to leave.
The captain is usually the last to abandon ship. What happened, Captain?
You want to know the irony? Yeah, at this point, when he
All
gave
they
this
said,
address,
they
there was
rescued
still
us from
people
the
on board.
ship. On Sunday morning, a South Korean couple is found in their cabin, safe but shivering. They had slept through the crash and woke up unable to exit their cabin.
Oh,
The
fuck.
last survivor, Manrico Giampandroni, was found with a broken leg. He was the cabin's service director.
Oh, fuck.
In the end, 32 people died.
What?
The final body wasn't discovered until nearly 3 years later. A crew member, Russell Rebello, and it's believed that he died a hero helping passengers off the ship. The Costa Concordia was the largest cruise ship disaster since the Titanic. And then there's the ship.
I didn't even know that. Fuck
This
me.
is what happens to a 110,000-ton
Jesus.
cruise liner when it's left half rolled over in the ocean.
What the hell? And that stupid ass piece of hot garbage of a captain. Jeez, man. It just gives you a rampant hate boner for that stupid ass captain. Yeah, that's haunting, man.
But this isn't the end. It's just the halfway point.
Oh
What
my god,
most
now we get to
people
deal
know
with all the
is that the
bureaucracy
Costa
behind it all.
Concordia had crashed, many dead, and that the captain abandoned ship like a coward. But there's a whole veritable spaghetti of details to untangle. Let's dive in. There they are.
That was a waste of spaghetti! I like internet historian sense of humor. The deets. That was a waste of spaghetti. That could have fed me for like 5 minutes.
Blue box time. The Costa Concordia was more than just a floating resort. There's a mall.
Of course!
A casino.
Yeah, I forgot about this. Like, you think about it, right? You have a rolled over ship in the middle of the bloody water. It's like a floating loot box from a video game, right? You just get pirates coming around to spoil to
This
steal all
iron
this
chest
wealth.
was full of safes and cash registers and expensive fittings. And there were plenty of gamers prepared to sneak by authorities and try their luck in the hot zone.
Oh my god, what?
Within days,
Trust
police divers
the
reported
human
that
race
valuable items
to have
once seen
people
lying
who would
around the ship were now missing.
just
High-end
take advantage of
liquor,
people's
expensive
misery.
furniture, dining sets, cash from the casino, cash registers, jewelry and display cabinets, safes, Japanese woodblock prints by famous 18th century artists, as well as the iconic bell, which hung from the bridge of the ship. It was never found. Who steals a big
I can't
fuck-off
imagine you're
bell?
going to be able to sell
Even
that on the black
server
market
admins
anyway.
were
Like,
getting
hey,
involved.
this definitely isn't the
Four
Costa
divers who part of the
Costa del
company
Concordia
contracted to refurbish
bell.
the
No, it's just a
Concordia
replica.
was spotted on CCTV, sneaking out to the ship. A patrol boat was dispatched, and the men were caught inside the fancy suites with rucksacks full of stolen goods. The 4
What
men
a
are charged
bunch of
with
assholes.
stealing and thieving and pinching.
Ooh, they
Later
stealing.
on, stolen as well as legitimate items found their way to Amazon and eBay. Chips from the casino, postcards, and cabin access cards became highly sought after souvenirs.
It even has a watermark.
It's like,
Some
what is it?
Australian
It's
guy
like
even made a
disaster
listing for the ship
tourists
itself,
right?
advertising it as buyer to collect. And although there were plenty of bidders, eBay pulled the plug.
Oh my god, this
I know you want to see Scatino go to jail, and
entire
we'll
thing
get to
is
that.
giving me a headache.
But first, we have to talk about someone else. Dominika Samorton.
So, okay,
He was
as a little thing, I remember at the time that this happened vaguely. I didn't hear much about this, but I did know it happened. But the main thing I saw was her trying to steal the spotlight and make it all about her. Even at the time, I had this deep-seated gut feeling that she was just turning a tragedy into something about her. Like, oh no, I'm such a victim, even though she shouldn't have been there in the first place.
speculation that she was on the
Give
bridge
me
that
popularity,
evening because
please.
she
I'm not
was the
I'm not
captain's
begging for your attention.
mistress.
Intense media speculation reports that her presence distracted the captain.
They both denied their love for years and maintained that they were just friends. Although she did later admit to the media that she found him handsome. And how could you not?
You so fucking precious when you smile.
But she says there was no romantic link between them.
Some people would like to believe, they want to know I had something with him. It's more interesting. It's like, you know, it's spicy in the story.
Man, I know what I'm gonna title this video. Makari laughs so hard she needs to pee, because I gotta pee!
Miss Samorton also loved the spotlight, however.
Everyone, oh look!
And took several interviews.
See what I mean?
But as the
I hate the
pressure
fact you
mounted
had these
upon
people
her,
profiteering
she began
off
making
people
ominous
suffering.
threats
Like, what
to Scatino.
absolute bastards.
Saying he must confess, and that you have but 1 week to come clean. But things from here get weird.
Spicy.
Samorton is a bit of a wild card. In a subsequent interview, she claimed a helicopter came to the ship well before the other rescue craft to take away a package. Huh? And what was that package?
Loot boxes.
Drugs, apparently. So rumors began that the ship was running
Drugs, not
narcotics
even once.
for the
Excuse me
mafia.
whilst I...
And not without cause. A number of cruise ships, even recently, have been caught trafficking drugs. As an aside, Scatino was tested for drugs immediately after the crash. He tested negative for drugs in his system,
I mean, back
but
to
trace
base,
amounts of
Jugger.
cocaine were found in a hair sample.
Makes it smoother and less dry.
Nonetheless, the Concordia was searched and no drugs were reported.
Do we
ever
think that
found.
the
How did
captain
we
was
get
actually
here?
drunk?
Oh, right, a helicopter. Samorton
Or
commented
maybe
on
like
it again
high on
the next
drugs?
day and said, actually, that helicopter was just for the captain as a means of evacuation from the ship. Okay, wait. So she expected to get some sort of first-class rescue while everyone else was still stuck on the ship? Wait, how did we get here? Oh, right, sex with the captain. Divers were quick to head to the captain's cabin where they found Miss Samorton's lingerie and other articles of clothing as well as a makeup bag. The jig was up, but they continued denying it. Samorton mostly faded from international attention until she was told to appear before the court to present witness testimony. The judge pressed her to
See,
be
it's
truthful
people like this
about
that
their
should
relationship,
never get the
or she
spotlight.
would be held in contempt.
They literally make it about them.
Or shut up.
So finally, she admitted it.
Yes, I had a sentimental relationship with the captain.
Stop.
But now, stop asking about my private life.
She was indeed the captain's lover.
The thing is though, by proxy, she would have... She would have... Hey, thank you for the research.
She and Scatino had
She
been
would
having
have
an
some
affair for several weeks. She also said that
responsibility
on
for
the
what
night she
happened.
boarded, she didn't have a
'Cause-
ticket.
Ticket, please.
And didn't need to pay because
To some
nobody
degree,
questions you when you're
she
the
was the
captain's
reason he
lover.
wasn't paying as much attention.
Naturally, she gave another confusing interview after leaving court.
I want to say that today is the second time I die, because the first time I died in the night of the crash with my psychological brain and problems. And today I died the second time because, of course, people find out something that I try to hide.
Subsequent to the trial, she used her fame in Moldova to become a political activist, often appearing on television and radio and in articles covering protests, accompanied by pictures of her being arrested by police.
I've never seen somebody try so hard to be relevant in people's eyes. Literally like a child throwing a tantrum.
It was some stuff about victims of violence, women's rights,
Girl power.
yada yada yada. And interestingly, part of a push to block the sale of shares of Moldova's train network to Russia. Sure. Other than that, I don't really know what she's been up to. Let me just check on her Oh god, not again.
Yeah, you kind of have to wonder, right? Like, how did she not get any punishment for the fact that she very evidently had a hand in playing in the disaster?
Carnival Cruises immediately saw a
Why
share
is it
drop
the
of
people
23%.
who deserve to be uplifted get shut down, but the people who
Passengers
deserve to
sought
be shut down
compensation
get
for their damaged
let off
mental health,
scot-free?
lost belongings, and loved ones?
Like, people
Either they
died in
allowed
this.
him
There should have
to
been better
divert from
punishment.
his course, or they didn't know where their billion-dollar ship was.
Within a few days, facing financial and media pressure, the CEO attempted to join the bandwagon against the captain and the crew.
That was not the ordinary route that the ship was taking at the time, and was.
Why can
not
nobody
only
take
taking
responsibility?
at the time, the ship was
Claiming that the ship was not approved to deviate from the route. But that wasn't true. Approval
Just
isn't
take some
required if the ship was
responsibility!
deviating
People
by less than
fucking
15
died!
miles,
Stop
or
thinking
that it
with
was
your
against
wallets and
company
think with your
rules.
god...
Also
Oh, for God's sake,
untrue,
I hate
because
I hate
investigators found that they
bureaucracy.
didn't have any rules about deviating route, and they tacitly encouraged sail-by salutes. Now, in response to the civil suits, Costa Crociere offered passengers 11,000 euros each as compensation.
That's kind of small.
11,000 euros, about $14,000, is the
People
minimum compensation
died!
under international law when a ship is abandoned.
This was to reimburse them for their tickets, as well as any costs they accrued in having to unexpectedly travel home early.
And that was supposed to release them from everything
No!
and anything that has to do
That's
with this
so
accident.
stupid. Why?
I cannot
Oh my
ask for more
God.
than this.
A lot of passengers,
How much do you think they should have
understandably,
paid the
were
people
not too happy
as
with this deal,
compensation?
and they refused to take the money.
We think the offer is an insult. For what these poor passengers went through, we think that the compensation being offered is not commensurate.
Take it.
Compensation being offered is not commensurate.
Later, Costa Crociere would lodge a
Flat
plea
mil
deal with the
each.
Tuscany court to pay a €1 million fine to avoid a criminal trial. The judge agrees. Costa Crociere is now off the hook for all criminal liability for the whole thing. They've washed their hands of the incident and flecked the residual droplets of responsibility onto the faces of 6 staff members. Passengers and relatives of the dead are livid that the company
Okay, I'm
has been
getting angry.
able to avoid
I'm actually getting
criminal
angry.
responsibility.
What do you
Offer is not
mean?
commensurate.
Why do
Civil
you not take
suits against the company
responsibility for the
continue.
people you
By the way,
hired?
the
You
residents
hired
of
the
the island of
incompetent
Helio
people.
also banded together and sought damages. They didn't get much. Eventually, passengers who refused the initial compensation of 11,000
God, why
joined
does it-
civil
like,
parties
it always
against
comes
Scatino
back to
in his
money,
trial
huh?
in 2015.
Is not commensurate.
They were awarded 30,000 euros each. Other cases, especially those involving lost relatives, are settled for undisclosed amounts.
Like, if you were a family member that actually lost somebody for that, I seriously hope they would have got some good money for that. Because that's, like, you can't put value on a life.
New York attorney Peter Rene traveled to Budapest to represent 6 real survivors of the disaster.
At Rene, we personally work on every case.
And we'll work harder than anyone to get you the most money possible in the shortest amount of time.
Again, all
And
comes
while
back to
on the
money. I
job,
fucking hate
a
how this
7th
world is
case
based on
cropped
money.
up via email. An elderly
Yo,
woman,
there's my boy
Alona,
Asman.
said,
Help me, Mr. Ronai, for I have lost my daughter, Eva, and my 5-year-old granddaughter, Roxana.
so Mr. Rene agreed to speak with her. However, there were some inconsistencies in her story. Neither Eva nor Roxana were on the
Oh, and then
passenger
of course, you had these people who were like
But Costa is known
trying
for
to
having
pretend
stolen.
they were on the boat to get like compensation.
Mr. Rene was suspicious.
Scum.
Cheaty old
Absolute
Petey, would they?
scum.
Renai inquired
Disgusting.
further about why she was on board, especially without a ticket. Ilona said,
Well, I don't know, but you should ask her boyfriend.
Zolt Horvath.
He'll know all the
God.
details.
I'm up all night.
My
I'm
guy
going
even
crazy,
looks like
he
he's
said.
about ready to deal you
But
drug
Mr.
money.
Renai was still suspicious. Because then she asked, how much money do you think this is worth? This is a huge red flag, Petey. In 20 years of doing this, you've never had anyone ask about money. Why now? So Mr. Renai hired an investigator and sent photos around of the missing girl. The next day, the phone rang. Oh, hoi hoi. It was the boyfriend again. Look, there's been a bit of a misunderstanding and the child isn't missing at all. Uh-huh. And then he claimed he was confused because he had done too many drugs the night before. Oh. Okay, can I speak to the daughter then? At first, he was refused. So Renai said that he'd have to file a missing persons report to the police if he couldn't. The boyfriend relented. That night, Renai met with Zolt and brought the police with him. He speaks to the granddaughter and asks her if she's seen Mum. Yeah, I saw her today. Oh, really? Yeah, we went to the park to...
Man, imagine that. Even the slightest bit of detective work. I can smell bullshit from a mile off. Just how I can smell the bullshit from the VTubers who say their say-so but then have a fansly. I'm gonna shut up now.
And we went on the swings. Oh no, the jig was up. So the mum walks into the room sheepishly. It's a miracle! And the story changed again. Okay, I'm not dead, but I did injure my leg when I jumped from the ship. And then I immediately flew back to Budapest. Although don't worry about checking my leg because there are no visible marks or injuries.
Oh, Petey, I'm beginning to think they weren't even on the boat.
Also, it turns out this lady isn't her mum, it's just a neighbour. Eventually, Renee managed to make the pair
God, the
confess.
swindlers!
And they said, hey, we haven't done anything
that's
wrong.
a Monty
We
Python
haven't
scene
taken
right there.
any money.
I died!
And in the end, it looks
got
like there'll
better.
be no criminal punishment for the scam, because Hungary, a former communist country, has no laws against insurance fraud on the books.
Really?
Law firm that never sleeps. Call 1-800-6647.
Oh, that's a bad idea. Oh, that's a very bad idea.
I don't think there's really anything else that could have happened that could have made this worse than what it was. Yo, baby Skulls, thank you for following.
Mario, would you teach me some Italian?
Oh, of course.
Get back on board for fuck's sake.
Makari una vagina stretta.
Gregorio De Falco, the naval officer who shouted at Scatino to
Absolute
Vada
Chad.
a bordo caso, became a bit of a national hero overnight in Italy. He, like the rest of the world,
This is the man
expected
that should
Scatino
have,
to go down with the ship.
This is the hero of the entire thing.
And when the captain chickened out, De Falco was there to admonish him. And when he stopped answering the radio, he called him on his cell phone to continue putting him on blast. When the captain first reported just a blackout, De Falco didn't believe the story and immediately began preparing a rescue effort, which likely saved several lives.
The hero that
His
we
actions
needed,
were
but
applauded
not
by
the
most
one we
Italians who were
deserved.
tired of their public servants being corrupt and avoiding responsibility. Accordingly, shirts sporting Vada a bordo caso were being printed by the end of the week, others setting it as their phone's ringtone. But then, in September 2014, without warning, De Falco was transferred to an admin role. in the Coast Guard.
They were trying to hush him up.
Hear what I said? You've been demoted.
De Falco said that he had been passed up for promotion, that he had also not been told which admin office he was even being transferred to, and that it all effectively cancelled 10 years of his career. De Falco was...
How
Tres
dare you get
Furioso,
public attention? How
and it was
dare you
public
show yourself as a
speculation that
hero?
it was owing to bad blood between himself and Admiral Delano, his former boss. His status among the public overshadowed his superior in many ways. On the other
Talk
hand,
about
his boss
jealousy.
said, no, it's part of a normal career progression for naval officers and that he must show more maturity and professionalism to advance his career. Now, it's hard to know what's true in
That's rich coming from the dude that looks like he's got a finger up his own asshole half the time.
office politics, so let's leave that alone. And anyway, in 2018, De Falco said Buenos noches, ya later, to the Italian Navy to become a politician. In March
See,
that
that's the
year,
kind
he
of
was
person you
elected
need
to
in
the
the
Italian
politics.
Senate,
Someone who
serving as a
actually
member for Livorno. He still serves
stands
there
up for
today.
the people.
I'm the captain now.
I am the captain. Now, okay. How do you think this would have gone if I was the captain of the ship? That ship would have sprouted wings, it would have been flown directly into the Makari mansion, and I would have got a direct deposit of souls. Haha! Yeah. There's goosebumps!
The day after the disaster, Scatino was taken into custody by police and underwent questioning. However, it was clear that this would not be a
anyone had to get
straightforward
punished, it should be
investigation.
this guy.
So the judge released him under house arrest at his home in Sorrento, a town in Napoli. By July of that year, the house arrest was relaxed and he was allowed within this general area.
The dude should
While under
have
house arrest, he
been
wrote a book
in actual
with
prison.
this journalist from Rai magazine. I have no idea what it says, I don't speak Italian. But goddammit, he must have some kind of charisma going on, because there's been a lot of speculation in the press that he had an affair with her as well.
You can't keep getting away with it!
Hold on, I got it. Not content with abandoning his ship, this dude is determined to abandon his wife as well.
Oh boy!
So, Scatino and 5 others are facing criminal charges. Straight away, everyone lodges a plea bargain with the court, and all of those plea bargains are accepted, except for Scatino's.
This guy should have gone to
And the condition
prison.
of everyone's reduced sentences are that they must provide witness testimony against Scatino.
He touched me.
Ciro, Jacob, and Silvio were all given suspended sentences. Roberto and Manrico are able to opt for community service or house arrest. Not a bad deal.
A good deal. A good deal.
And that meant that Scatino was now all on his own.
If Scatino
Ciro, the first
served
officer,
actual
was the
time
first to give
in a
his
prison,
testimony.
that would have been
On the witness stand, he
the
claimed
lowest
that
form
Scatino
of
was
success.
distracted by his
Best form of
mistress
success,
and
everyone
other
should have gone to
guests
prison.
on the bridge.
Everyone involved should have gone to prison. Mostly
That there
Scatino.
was confusion over who was in command. Then it was Jacob's turn. And he said Lamau XD because he didn't actually bother with his testimony or his reduced sentence. He just fled the country. It took authorities 12 months to eventually track him down on the outskirts of Jakarta. And when they said, "Oi, we still want that witness testimony," he just scalped it again. And he hasn't
To be
been found
fair,
since.
this dude shouldn't have even been on that boat. This dude shouldn't have even been on the boat. He wasn't even a friggin' boat person. He was a painter.
After that, Ferrarini gave his testimony, then look, we don't have time to relitigate the whole trial, so let's just go straight to the verdict. Guilty! Scatino was found guilty of multiple manslaughter, causing a shipwreck, abandoning ship, and lying to authorities. He is sentenced to 16 years and 1 month in prison.
Should have been life sentence. You took 30 lives because of your incompetence. Should have been life.
But wait, there's still the appeals. The appeals trial begins. And the verdict on the appeal? Surprise! Rejected!
Yeah!
So Scatino's
karma,
lawyers
bitch.
appealed again. And the verdict on the final appeal?
Scatino made multiple attempts to secure a plea deal, but was denied by the prosecution each time. The prosecution called for Scatino to be sentenced to 26
Like,
years
here's
in
the
prison.
thing. If you
following
commit
the
a crime,
incident at Titanic
if you commit a crime, you do the time. If you take somebody's life, you should not be able to live a comfortable life. You should be punished for your heretical bullshit. And I'm saying that because those are the lives that could have become souls for me. I'm not saying that because I, value it or anything. I'm just saying that as a succubus, that is potential currency for me that you've wasted. You piece of shit.
affair.
Oh, okay. I see what you did there.
Scatino was not present. His lawyer stated that he was waiting outside of the jail for the ruling, so that if his plea was rejected, he could immediately start serving his sentence. And with that, 5 years and 4 months after the disaster, he was finally in a cell.
I can't believe how stupid our system is that it takes 5 years to get that kind of incompetency behind bars.
The salvage operation was enormous. It took over 2 years and cost an estimated $1.2 billion.
Which, again,
beginning in early 2012,
the
they
owners
first
of the
spent 2
ship should
months
have paid
pumping
for.
fuel from the ship's tanks. At the same time, they had to pump seawater in so that the balance wasn't affected and the ship didn't slide around. In early 2013, a platform was built under the ship to prevent it from falling further. Sponsons were then attached to the sides of the ship and cables attached to the underwater platform. The sponsons were
like,
then dragged
it's
underwater
kind of
and
morbid
opened
to
up
think about,
allow
but
the ocean to fill
this
them.
whole
The
like
ship could
process
then
of,
roll over
refloating
properly.
a boat just
By
fascinates
late
me.
2013, the ship was upright once more. The sponsons were then attached to the side of the ship to help keep it balanced. It now rested partially above water.
Gosh,
and
look at the impaction on the side of the ship.
Safely. By July 2014, the water was removed from the sponsons and compressed air was pumped in to lift the ship. And she was ready to cruise again. This time to a port in Genoa. It was a 4-day towing journey to the docks where a 2-year process of dismantling and recycling would begin. That same weekend of the towing, Scatino
They wouldn't be able
was
to fix
busy.
it, right? They
He
just
was
like
the guest
they'd
of
have
honor
to
at a
like
white
salvage the
party
entire
on
thing.
an island in the Bay of Naples. He appeared on the front page of a local newspaper, flanked by 2 of Italy's most eligible bachelorettes.
What?
Anyway, so these are the things that I remember from the Costa Concordia. That sweet maiden
Right,
of
so
the sea.
what we've learned from all of this
And as for
is
you, little
what we've learned, ladies and gentlemen, is don't be a fucking piece of and make sure you don't, because if you I will right up, because you don't deserve nothing. Also, boats are kind of cool.